Welcome to another Unwinding with Fiber and Fabric, and happy Winter Solstice, or Summer Solstice, depending on where you are at in the world. We are down to the last days of 2023, and I have decided that after recording this video and uploading it, I am going to take a little bit of a break. It has been a long year. One in which I have so greatly appreciated each and every one of you that have watched a little bit or a lot of my videos. It has supported me in ways that I can't even express. It's lovely. It's just such a lovely thing to know that out there somewhere, someone else is unwinding with fiber and fabric with me. So today I have 3 things I'm going to share with you. I have a quick craft project that was kind of impromptu. I have my English paper piecing block that I want to share. And I have a craft project that is dear to my heart that is nostalgic. So let's just go ahead and jump right in. 2024 is the year of the dragon. And from what I've been able to read, it is a year that's supposed to be creative and prosperous. That's the hope. And for me, I decided to make it's a little zipper bag of a dragon in honor of the upcoming year. I am excited for 2024. I look forward to the changes that will come out of choice, and the changes that will come out of necessity, and the changes that sometimes will come by surprise. So in honor of the Year of the Dragon, I present this little guy. He is a design by it's a company called Sweet Pea Embroidery. I'll put a link in the bottom. No, once again, I'm not sponsored by anybody. They have a number of these designs available for the machine embroidery enthusiast. I, of course, had to go with the dragon in honor of the upcoming year. I also thought with his little zipper, he might make a nice little dice bag. And my husband and I are going to try to join a local group with Dungeons and Dragons. My husband did Dungeons and Dragons years and years ago. I have never actually been into any of that kind of gaming. So, but we're going to try. We have as a New Year's present to ourselves, we have a number of new board games coming that are designed for 2 people to play, as opposed to when you need larger groups. And we're going to try to switch things up. We played lots of board games years ago with our kids, and we enjoyed it. There were some card games that we played years ago that we really enjoyed when the kids would go to bed at night. And so we're going to try to do that. And part of that inspiration was from the enthusiasm around Dungeons and Dragons that my son had gotten into. He had a group for a while that he was playing with, and from some of you people out there who have mentioned it, and one of my husband's coworkers loves the game. So we're going to attempt in the Year of the Dragon to see about maybe playing some different type of games of this nature. But I thought he was adorable. I had to make him in red and green because, of course, it is Christmas time. So I changed up his coloring just a little bit from what they show on the design for the company. If you're into machine embroidery and you haven't checked out the company, they have a number of these little critters, different types of animals. I have a black cat that I am really looking forward to making into a couple different colors. So, Year of the Dragon, my little impromptu. And it was as I was making him that I really came to the conclusion that I needed to take the next couple weeks off. I am hoping, my plan is to have a new video on Distaff Day, which is January 7th. So look for a new video from me on January 7th. But until then, I will be resting and enjoying the season. So I was making him, and there's little steps that you follow, and I thought I was at the almost the final step when you attach the wings and the tail and the horns. Only to realize I hadn't actually stitched out the wings. Thank goodness I have multiple embroidery hoops and was able to adjust. But I had been leaning towards the idea of having this my last vlog of the year. That process this morning solidified the decision. I am needing a long winter's nap. But before then, I want to share with you the English paper piecing for this week. I have a craft that I'll share at the end. The English paper piecing block for this, and it's the 17th block in my 30 block series that I am doing. And this one is called the Bethlehem Star, which if you Google the Bethlehem Star, there is a few of them out there. Depending on the piecing technique, you can get a little bit of variation. Now, again, to show you that my fatigue level has reached a point where I'm more prone to making mistakes than I normally am. When I did this up for the pattern, each of these, there were two different colors that went around in the center star. When it came time to cutting out the fabric, I forgot that part. Now, compared to the blocks that I've been doing, like last week's block, where I said that the pieces, it was really quite the puzzle. All of the pieces in here, they're really simple. There's 4 shapes. They're all very simple. This shape is always going to be exactly the same piece as here. So you have this diamond, you have a triangle, you have this triangle with a kind of a square base, you have the corner triangles. 4 really simple pieces. You can mix up the colors if you'd like to change out how the center is. I was really pleased though, because it was a mistake that actually I think worked out really well for me. Because the fabric I was using that would have been the contrast is this stuff. I think it would have broken up the star a little too much because of that stripy situation. That's one of the problems that you run into when you're using vintage fabric. When you're using vintage, or this is actually, some of this is nearing the antique fabric age. When you're using fabrics that you don't have a huge amount of, that you can't go and purchase more of, sometimes the fabric that you're choosing to use doesn't work quite as well as if you were buying a purchase number, fat quarters or yardage to design it out. So when I realized my mistake, of course, I went ahead with just sewing it together as it is, and I really do like the way it turns out, because it centers our focus on that center star. And while it does still radiate out from the center star, and I'll put a picture here of how I had it in the pattern that you can download, how I envisioned it. It can radiate out more depending on the colors that you're using. But for me, this actually ended up being, I don't know, the simplicity of it, the focus on the center of the star. I think it really works, especially for the season. So this is definitely a block I would do multiples of. It was enjoyable, as I said, really simple, nothing wonky about it. No, no weirdness, just a nice, simple star that is bordered. And again, you can always take the border, you can leave the borders off and just have the star. So that's the English paper piecing block for this week. It is the 7th. I can't believe I've got 17. That means I've been doing these weekly videos for a little tiny while. I know there was 1 or 2 weeks that I did 2 blocks, but it has been wonderful, and I intend to continue with them. As I said, I have 30 blocks that will go into the quilt, so I will be sharing all of those patterns week by week, but now into the new year. I don't know if I'll be continuing with the weekly or if I'll go to back to the every other week like I was doing before. I know that Distaff Day is a Saturday, so I may shift to uploading these videos on a Saturday. So we'll see. But this year for 2024, while I am looking forward to the creativity, and definitely the year of the dragon, the creativity, I think I'm going to leave off planning anything and more just right now, just take it day by day to see how it goes. We'll see how that works. But I intend to do some more spinning, definitely some knitting. In fact, that's one of the things I plan to do in these next 2 weeks of break. I have my I have a couple knitting projects that I'm working on. One of them was a block of the month that I want to get caught up on. So I think I'm gonna sit down and I'm going to knit. I was actually knitting the other day on just one of those grab projects that I think it's a bag that I'm going to eventually felt, a small bag. And it was the first real knitting I had done in months now. So I'm going to take 2024 as it comes, at least for the beginning of it. And we'll see. But I do know I'll do some spinning. I have a bunch of fiber that I want to spin. I have a bunch of, just a bunch of things that have been put off, I think, too long. And so 2024, that may be my one main goal for 2024 that I will document. To do the things that often get put off when other people need you more, I guess you could say. So I guess that's the thing. I think I'm going to try in 2024 to not put off as much not get sidetracked, not put off as much of the stuff that I want to do specifically for my own creativity. I think sometimes we do get, caught up in what everyone else is doing, and that's a good thing. But it can also delay us from. I have some little amigurumi type, like the little Santa behind me. I want to make some more things like that. That requires a little more concentration with my crafting. Excuse me, than I get if I'm watching TV with my husband. But I'm going to try to dedicate a little bit more time in 2024 to quietly complete. Yes, quietly complete some of the things that I would like to do. I have no problem quietly completing these guys in the machine embroidery, because it's something that it actually helps when I can't sit still. I can have it running while I'm doing multiple things. I'm going to try to do more focused crafts in 2024. Things that I have to quiet myself, quiet my mind, quiet the world around me. So there, I've made one goal for 2024 that I've now shared with you. So the craft that I wanted to end, because I had the 8 weeks of crafting that I wanted to share with you, and the craft I wanted to end with, I've shared a number of things, and I decided today, rather than trying to come up with something that shows, like, he's upside down, showing how to do traditional method of this. Yeah, I mean, again, we've done zipper bags. Rather than trying I had a couple other ideas that I thought of maybe sharing is this last project. Some paper crafting, the old paper mache type crafting, ornaments and things. I thought about doing some of those kind of things. And in the end, upon reflection, upon realizing that that at some point we just have to say, okay, enough is enough. Let's enjoy the season. I decided, especially with my ongoing tree saga, I decided to share with you all the Christmas angel that I made 30 years ago. So my husband and I are celebrating 30 years together. This last February was the anniversary of when we met. And so this entire year has been the celebration of 30 years together. We joke, everyone's talking about stuff that happened in the 80s or fabrics from the 80s that are vintage. And my husband are like, that means we're vintage. We don't want to be thinking that we're vintage. But 30 years ago was a little bit of time ago. And my husband and I, we took the leap of faith, and in those early days, no 2 pennies to rub together, no spare. And the fabrics for this little angel were fabrics that were given to me by my great aunt, who was a wonderful seamstress. She was just an extraordinarily talented woman, very creative, very just a wonderful spirit, just a wonderful woman. And when I was getting ready to venture off, she gave me a bunch of her scraps. And so this is fabrics from, she used to make the most beautiful little princess nightgowns for little girls that had a little, little soft, stretchy, silky nightgown. And then it had a little robe that would go over it. And she used to make those. It was one of the ways that she helped support her family, extra income. And I remember I got one when I was about 8 years old. Oh, loved the thing. And this is just some of the fabrics that she had, the scraps that she gave me. So the doll, I'll bring it up close. You can see it's a sock. And it's a toilet paper roll, or as I know the Brits call it, a loo roll. It is just, let me turn it this way, a tube that I pushed up into the sock. There's some batting, some stuffing here in the head. You can tell I never put a face on her because my hand embroidery was really bad, and I didn't want to. I wanted to practice a little bit before I put a face. Never did get to putting on a face, and in the end, we decided to leave the face off because my artwork, my pen work isn't that great either. And I thought about maybe asking somebody to draw a face on. But the truth is it's always been kind of lovely just having this little angel up at the top of the tree. Just little arms and little hands. I had a sewing machine, so some of it is done by sewing machine, but other is done by hand stitching, just seeing how to make it work. I had never done hair before, so I figured out a way to get a little bit of hair on there and stay. I had done stuffed animals where I had an Eeyore, a little donkey pattern that I'd make, and I had put a mane on it. But this is the first time I tried doll hair, and I didn't really know how to make wings. So it's just a piece of cardboard cut out in the shape of the wings, stitched around and stuffed with a little bit of lace. Really simple. So I wanted to show this because I think it makes a really interesting contrast. I can make these things now, but one of the most choice and beloved items that we have is this now 30-year-old angel that goes on the top of our tree every year. I have made other angels for my smaller trees. They, yes, have faces. One of the angel, when I was doing earlier years ago, I actually took marker and drew on one of those gingerbread dolls and made little pioneer dolls for the tree. But then when the cats would steal them off the tree, the ink could run. I guess I didn't use permanent marker or permanent enough marker. So it's an interesting contrast. The new versus the old. If you think about it. I love the high tech and the modern. I love the creativity. I love the artistry that a lot of people put into their designs. I also love the simple, the very traditional, the reminiscent of the old-fashioned make do as well. So, Christmas 2023. It seems to have been about the old and the new. It is about the memories. It is about trying to figure out how to go forward, having the strength to go forward and the courage to go forward. So, I share this as my Christmas and New Year's message for you. I hope that you will be able to reflect back upon 2023 with joy, recognizing that there may have been struggle, but lots of unwinding with fiber and fabric and enjoying life. And as we move into 2024, I hope that you, like me, will find it easy to take one step at a time, to embrace the opportunities and sometimes the hurdles as ways. I think the opportunities and the hurdles are both ways of not just challenging ourselves, but helping us reflect upon who we are, not just who we want to become, but who we actually are. And I think that's what 2023 has helped me see more clearly. It is great, and I am certainly a proponent of planning for the future, planning for tomorrow, trying to improve myself, trying something new, challenging myself to step outside of my box. I'm a huge proponent of all of that, but 2023 has taught me to recognize how important it is to embrace who we are, where we've come from, before worrying so much about where we're going. We don't want to get stuck in the past, but we also don't want to run away from the past. So, with my Merry Christmas tradition, old style tradition, and my Happy New Year modern technology-based tradition, I wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and joy with whatever it is you celebrate this time of year. I hope to see you again in 2024, but until then, happy unwinding with fiber and fabric.